Good evening, good evening. This is 12th of April 2026 and we are very close to midnight. Maybe we got like half an hour till midnight. I'm sitting here in London, UK. And today we had quite wonderful weather, very tricky. It was very summery. I had my green winter jacket on, and after like half an hour of walk in East London, I needed to take it off because it was like just so hot, so hot. So I took it off and I was walking on the East London streets in a short sleeve shirt, and then I met a friend, and it started to rain. So immediately we went to the pub. I had Blue Moon beer, and then again we walked a little bit because it was not raining anymore. And then we went to a pub again, a different pub for a light meal. And I noticed that in both pubs had a piano, and I think it was more like a pianino, if we want to be more technical. And both of them was the same, in the same color, the same style, made by the same company, and it was in the same state as well. So I find it very, very interesting. When it comes, especially in London, when it comes to local businesses, many times other local businesses, they might be gifting things to the pub, and all sort of things. So there could be like a small piano factory nearby or something like that. But I don't want to talk about this because 12th of April 2026 today, it's it's a very historically important day. I'm Hungarian, and today was the election for Hungary, and many people believed that that the two main parties fighting, one is the Fidesz, who's been in power for 16 years with Mr. Orban Viktor as a leader, and another one called TISA, TISA party, both on the right, both right. That Yeah, everyone wanted to believe that something gonna happen, and but no one was really sure about this, because what you need to know about TISA and the leader Peter Magyar, that he basically came out of nowhere 2 years ago. There was a YouTube channel. Still, there is a YouTube channel called Partisan, and he had an interview there, and it got views like no one ever seen those kind of view numbers before. Like it reached more than 1 million. Right now, it could be more than 2 million views on one single video. And that was the time when Peter Magyar stepped out into into the limelight, and he built his right wing political party that challenged Fidesz 16 years rule. And when I say rule, it means that they basically had all the power in the country. The opposition basically was non-existent for 16 years. And what happened here? There are several things. When oh yes, the reason I'm making this video, because the TISA won. Peter Magyar won the election, and right now, the election was today, so people, who were eligible, they went to the polls, and there was a list, and they ticked the boxes that they felt the right choice, and they need to count it, and they do it by hand. So yeah, Tisa won, Peter Magyar won, and it's still so hard to believe. So many people worked on it, so many, and there were so many things that actually played a part played a part for this win, and it's gonna go down in history in one of the most important election, because we have war all over the place. And yeah. One of the most important thing, I would put it first, and that is that the Fidesz party had almost unlimited money to do the advertisements, to rule the conversation, to rule the narrative of what's going on. All political topic of the day, of the week, of the month was made by them. And what happened is that Google and Facebook decided not to allow, at least in the European Union, and Hungary is in the EU, in the European Union, they switched off. They decided not to allow um, political advertisement on their platform. And it was a huge loss, because how do you reach people? Because nowadays nobody reads printed media, and most people who were voting for the Fidesz, they were coming from um, people who were not that educated, basically who finished 8 elementary, or maybe finished high school, and they lived in villages, not in the big cities. Fidesz lost the main city, which is the capital, which is Budapest, first. And it was opposition politician Gergely Karácsony, who is the mayor of Budapest. And then what happened is that it didn't bother them, because they had such an influence, and they were the governing party for 60 years, so they didn't care about who is the mayor of uh, of Budapest, of the capital of Hungary. They didn't care, because they could do so many things. They could take a big piece of the budget away and called it a tax, and like this they almost paralyzed the city. So it was quite wild. So yeah, so many things happen, but one is the main thing, that you need to communicate with your voting base. It's very important. And when they communicated, they basically pushed out the opposition, every thought and every idea of the from the opposition side. They completely ruled the media. So it was last year autumn when Google and Facebook decided not to allow political advertisements. So they needed to do different groups, and I would translate it to the the citizens circle. I think this is how I would translate it into English, and they put lots of money into it. So basically, okay, the social media platforms, they don't allow political advertisements. No problem. We're gonna organize people like normal citizens to talk about what we are about, and they're gonna get the message across. It didn't really work because on the other side, on the opposition side, there were so many influencers, and basically, it's in the last 2 years, it was very hard to find influencers who were only like lifestyle, what you find in America and in other places, just lifestyle. Oh, I woke up today and I'm going for a coffee. I'm drinking an iced coffee. I'm walking in the park and all sort of stuff. It was very hard to find in Hungary this sort of influencers because everyone switched to politics. And one of the main thing was that everyone was making fun. They were doing sketches, political sketches, and it really hurt. It really hurt the leading party, especially if you look at the like numbers. If you look at the people who subscribed to this sort of content, it was a huge number. The second thing was that basically lead to this day, today, 12 of April, change of history, was Peter Magyar himself, because basically he was a house husband before. He was staying at home, 3 kids, married, and he was very much part of the Fidesz. So basically, someone from the Fidesz, from the leading party, uh, went rogue and then built his own party and won against Fidesz from the against the party he was originally from. And the second thing that led to this day was Peter Magyar being a politician that no one ever seen before in Eastern Europe, in Hungary. He was all the time on social media. We've never seen this before because usually there are people, so it's outsourced basically. So you're a politician and basically you pay people who do your content, who would decide what to say, what to do. They would do the editing, they would call they would call someone to do your videos, do everything. He was not like that. He was doing everything live and he was doing everything on his phone. And not just that, he was not just like doing everything on his phone, doing everything live and doing the commenting. He was commenting every single thing you can imagine, every single video, every single political news. He was, you went to the comment section and his comment was there. He was basically, in the last 2 years, I think he was sleeping like 3 hours a day. So he actually left his couch and went to villages. There was a day when he visited two free villages and he stabbed front of everyone could see. So there were no bodyguards, there were no cordons, there were no no system to register. They would vet the people who would turn up. Everyone could go. He was just standing on the square on the town square, or he went to places in a village where there was some space that the people could gather, and that's it. He was just talking to the people, and people touched him. They shook his hand and they give him a hug, they give him presents and all that stuff. And this is 2026. Nobody ever done that before in Hungarian politics, in Hungarian history. Absolutely nobody. He was the very first one. And it's very important to say that the media, which is almost the state media, it's almost 100% under the Fidesz rule. They were doing anti-propaganda against him, against Peter Magyar every single day. Like there were news about him that like it's absolutely out of this world, and I would not even repeat it. I think the YouTube would like it at all. We're moving on to number 3. So the Peter Magyar's political party, TISA. TISA is the river. In Hungary, there are two main rivers. One is the Danube, and the second one is the TISA. And it's an extremely good name. Peter Magyar. The Magyar, the family name Magyar, is literally mean Hungarian, so that is a very good choice for a politician. Obviously, he was born with it, so it was not a choice, but you know what I mean. And what happened is that he had this political party, TISA, which was very new. So he's been doing this for 2 years. He's like super new to this game, but you could not be a member of a TISA political party. Maybe they had like 6 or 7 members, but you could join something called the island. It's called the Tisa Island because Tisa is the river, and these groups, these social groups, they could have up to 30 people. Called the island. Sorry, we are coughing here, and probably that could be annoying, but I need to do this video right now because it's happening right now. I don't want to do it tomorrow. So basically, Fidesz had the citizen circles that would these small groups that they were doing all sort of volunteering, and they were the activists for the party. And they had the islands, they called the islands, for the Tisa party. And what they did, again, it was never heard before in Hungarian politics or Hungarian history, because what they did, that locally these people were local, so, and they still are, these people locally, they knew the problems, they knew what should be done. And instead of having one narrative for the whole country, now we had like 1,000 different narrative for every single village, every single area. That was absolutely amazing. I think people now in 2026, in this era, they can handle much more information than the people like ever could handle. So on his channel, Peter Magyar YouTube channel, every single day there was hours and hours and hours of live video, him walking from village to village and doing this sort of speeches, these heartwarming messages to the people. And in the same time, we could listen to places. I was born in Hungary. I was born in a capital. I don't really know, like, basically I can say that 90% of my country I never seen. And because of him, I could basically walk with him to these places. Most of them I never heard of, and I could understand what are the local problems, what are the local costumes, and hear, the special accents of that area, and what they are proud of, what they need. And it was an absolutely amazing journey in the last 2 years. What was the most important thing that was coming back over and over again, that at the end of the 80s, when the communists fell, when the socialists fell, and we changed to democracy, the system what was in place, like every single city had their own factory, and basically everyone worked in that factory. It could be steel factory, it could be oil refinery, or all sort of stuff. It fall apart. And what happened is that in the 90s, when we became democracy, like everyone thought that it's gonna be so amazing. Lots of foreign capital came to the country, but never really came out of it. And and then in 2003, 2004, we joined the European Union. And at that time, we were in a very good position. I could say even that we were very rich. And right now in 2026, we are basically the poorest member. Like, I think we are fighting for the poorest member, the last member position with Bulgaria. But I think Bulgaria already like miles and miles away. And then he was not alone. In the very beginning, it was they called it a one-man show, because he was doing everything alone. And then people started to come out of the woodwork, and they were very, very important people, very, very famous people. There was an opera singer. There was one of the most famous TikTok star who was actually a doctor. And there was a guy with a very, very good communication skills, and he used to work for, he was a CEO of the Shell, the oil company. He would join, and there was a guy who is the boss of how do you call this, an animal garden, a zoo. This sort of people, and it was absolutely amazing what kind of people gathered around him, and he had his own team very, very quickly. So yes, this is 12th of April 2026, and absolutely yes, it's a historical moment. And I'm so sorry that I was talking to you while I'm coughing and stuff. I can't breathe, but I really wanted to um, do a review of what happened today, and sort of like a hot take, what's going on, because it's very important. It feels very, very fresh, and you can see it on my face that it's so unbelievable. And it would be a completely different stuff if I do this tomorrow. It's very soon tomorrow, actually, because it's very soon midnight. I was staying up until now because I was actually following live, the numbers, because they were counting the votes. Well, definitely it was not easy for people who live abroad. In London, for example, I heard that if you went there to vote, you needed to queue up for 3 hours. In Stuttgart, you needed to stay in a queue outside on the street for 2 hours. And yeah, it could be hot, it could be cold, it could be raining, and yeah, not easy. But today is the historical moment. After 16 years, Fidesz, yeah, gonna step down, and there will be a completely new era starting from from tonight.